Nobody believes in you. That's what they told me too. When I was working that dead-end job making $8 an hour, when I was living paycheck to paycheck, when I had more dreams than dollars in my bank account, nobody believed in me either. And you know what? That's exactly where your power is hiding. See, when nobody believes in you, that's when you discover what you're really made of. That's when you stop looking for validation from the outside and start building something from the inside. That's when you realize the only person who needs to believe in you is you. And brother, that might be all you need. I remember sitting in my car after getting rejected from another job interview. The guy looked at me like I was crazy when I told him my goals. He laughed, actually laughed at me, and I sat there thinking, man, maybe he's right. Maybe I am delusional. But then something clicked. I thought, you know what? If being delusional got me this far out of my comfort zone, maybe I need to be more delusional, not less. The world is designed to make you think small. Your teachers told you to be realistic. Your parents told you to get a safe job. Your friends tell you to stop dreaming so big. And society tells you that people like you don't make it. But here's what they don't tell you. Average people give average advice. Broke people give broke advice. And scared people give scared advice. When I started visualizing myself driving that Ferrari, people thought I was nuts. I was making minimum wage and talking about luxury cars, but I kept doing it anyway. Every morning in that cold shower, every night before bed, I saw myself behind that wheel, and people made fun of me for it. They called me crazy. They called me a dreamer. They said I was living in fantasy land. But you know what happened? That fantasy became my reality. Because when nobody believes in you, you get hungry. You get desperate. You get willing to do things that other people won't do. You get willing to work when other people are sleeping. You get willing to sacrifice when other people are comfortable. The truth is, nobody has to believe in you for you to succeed. In fact, it's better when they don't. Because when people believe in you, you get soft, you get comfortable. But when nobody believes in you, you develop something that can't be taught and can't be given. You develop unshakable self-belief. I want you to think about every person who ever told you that you couldn't do something. Every teacher who said you weren't smart enough. Every boss who passed you over. Every friend who rolled their eyes at your dreams. Remember their faces. Remember their words, because they just gave you the greatest gift they could ever give you. They gave you fuel. When someone tells you that you can't do something, they're really telling you about their own limitations. They're projecting their own fears onto you. They're giving you their own ceiling and asking you to accept it as your own. But you don't have to accept it. You don't have to carry their doubt. For years, I let other people's opinions control my actions. If someone said my idea was stupid, I'd abandon it. If someone said I wasn't qualified, I'd believe them. And you know what happened? I stayed exactly where they expected me to stay. I became exactly who they said I would become. I lived down to their expectations. But then I realized something that changed everything. The same people who are telling you that you can't do it are the same people who never tried to do it themselves. The same people who are calling you unrealistic are the same people who settled for a life they hate. The same people who are telling you to be practical are the same people who gave up on their own dreams years ago. So why are you taking advice from people who quit? Why are you listening to people who never even started? Why are you letting people who are afraid of their own potential convince you that you should be afraid of yours? The moment you stop needing other people to believe in you is the moment you become unstoppable. Because when your belief comes from the inside, nobody can take it away from you. When your motivation comes from your own vision, nobody can kill it. When your drive comes from your own purpose, nobody can stop it. But you have to feed that belief every single day. You have to talk to yourself better than anyone else talks to you. You have to see yourself achieving things that other people say are impossible. You have to fall in love with the process of becoming who you're meant to be, even when nobody else can see it yet. I spent years trying to convince other people that I was going to make it. I wasted so much energy trying to get them to see my vision. But the moment I stopped trying to convince them and started focusing on convincing myself, everything changed. The moment I stopped looking for their approval and started looking for my own improvement, everything shifted. You know what's funny about belief? It's contagious, but it has to start with you. You can't give what you don't have. You can't inspire belief in others if you don't believe in yourself. You can't convince anyone else that you're going to make it if you're not convinced yourself. So stop trying to get other people on board with your dreams. Stop trying to get them to understand your vision. Your dreams don't need their permission. Your goals don't need their approval. Your success doesn't need their validation. What you need is to become so obsessed with your own growth that you forget about their doubt. What you need is to become so focused on your own journey that you stop paying attention to their comments. What you need is to become so in love with your own potential that you stop needing their love. I remember the day I bought my first luxury car. The same people who used to laugh at me when I was reading those car magazines at work. The same people who used to make fun of me for talking about impossible goals. Those same people were suddenly asking me how I did it. They wanted to know my secret. And here's what I told them. The secret isn't that I got lucky. The secret isn't that I'm special. The secret is that I never stopped believing in myself, even when nobody else did, especially when nobody else did. The secret is that I used their doubt as motivation instead of letting it become my limitation. When people don't believe in you, they're actually doing you a favor. They're showing you who's really in your corner and who's just there for the show. They're giving you a chance to build something that's truly yours, something that doesn't depend on their approval or their support. But here's the thing about not having support. It makes you stronger. It makes you more resourceful. It makes you more determined. It makes you realize that the only person you can really count on is yourself. And when you learn to count on yourself, you become dangerous. You become the type of person who doesn't need permission to chase their dreams. You become the type of person who doesn't need encouragement to take action. You become the type of person who creates their own opportunities instead of waiting for someone else to give them one. The people who don't believe in you right now, they're not your enemy. They're not bad people. They're just scared people. They're people who have been conditioned to think small. They're people who have been taught that dreams don't come true, and they're trying to protect you from disappointment. They're trying to save you from failure. But safe doesn't build anything. Safe doesn't create anything. Safe doesn't accomplish anything. Safe just keeps you exactly where you are. The most dangerous thing you can do in life is play it safe. Because when you don't bet on yourself, you're betting against yourself. I used to be terrified of what people would think if I failed. I used to be paralyzed by the thought of someone saying, "I told you so." But then I realized something. If I don't try, I fail anyway. If I don't take the shot, I miss anyway. If I don't chase the dream, it dies anyway. So what's the difference between failing while trying and failing while not trying? At least when you fail while trying, you learn something. At least when you fail while trying, you grow something. But when you fail while not trying, you just stay the same person, with the same problems, living the same life. The people who don't believe in you are comfortable with you staying the same. They're comfortable with you being predictable, because when you stay the same, they don't have to question their own choices. When you stay small, they don't have to face their own potential. But the moment you start growing, the moment you start changing, the moment you start becoming more than what they expected, it makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to look at their own life. It forces them to ask themselves why they're not doing the same thing. And that's scary for them. So they try to pull you back down. They try to convince you that you're being unrealistic. They try to remind you of all the times you failed before. They try to make you believe that you're not special, that you're not different, that you're not capable of more. But here's what they don't understand. You don't have to be special to do special things. You don't have to be different to create a different life. You just have to be willing. Willing to work when they're not working. Willing to learn when they're not learning. Willing to risk when they're not risking. Most people live their entire lives in the safety of other people's expectations. They never discover what they're truly capable of, because they never push beyond what others think is possible for them. They never explore their full potential, because they're too busy trying to meet someone else's limited vision of who they should be. But when nobody believes in you, you get to discover who you really are. You get to find out what you're really made of. You get to test your own limits instead of accepting theirs. You get to write your own story instead of living inside theirs. I want to tell you about a conversation I had with my mentor years ago. I was complaining about how nobody supported my goals. I was frustrated that my family didn't understand my vision. And he said something that changed my perspective forever. He said, "The reason they don't believe in you is because they can't see what you see. They can't feel what you feel. They don't have access to your vision because it's your vision, not theirs. You're asking them to believe in something they can't see, feel, or understand. That's not their job. Their job is to love you as you are. Your job is to believe in who you're becoming." That hit me like a truck. I realized I was trying to get other people to believe in my dreams more than I believed in them myself. I was looking for external validation for an internal vision. So I stopped asking for their belief and started building my own. I stopped looking for their support and started supporting myself. And that's when everything changed. When you stop needing other people to believe in you, you become free. Free to try things that might not work. Free to chase dreams that might seem impossible. Free to become the person you're meant to be, instead of the person they expect you to be. But freedom comes with responsibility. The responsibility to believe in yourself, even when you don't feel like it. The responsibility to keep going, even when you don't see progress. The responsibility to maintain faith, even when you don't have proof. This is where most people quit. Because believing in yourself when nobody else does is hard. It's lonely, it's scary, it's exhausting. But it's also where champions are made. You think Michael Jordan's high school coach believed in him when he cut him from the team? You think Steve Jobs' teachers believed in him when he was dropping out of college? No. They had to believe in themselves first. They had to see their own potential before anyone else could see it. And that's exactly what you have to do. You have to see yourself succeeding before anyone else can see it. You have to feel yourself winning before anyone else can feel it. Because belief starts with you. Success starts with you. Everything starts with you. But I'm going to be honest with you. There are going to be days when you don't believe in yourself either. There are going to be moments when their doubt starts to sound like truth. And that's normal. That's human. That's part of the process. The difference between people who make it and people who don't isn't that successful people never doubt themselves. It's that they don't let their doubt stop them from taking action. They feel the fear, and they do it anyway. They hear the negative voice and they choose to listen to a different voice. When I first started making real money, when I first started achieving some of the goals that people said were impossible, something interesting happened. Some of the same people who didn't believe in me suddenly started wanting to be around me. They started asking me for advice. They started telling other people that they always knew I would make it. And I realized something. They didn't start believing in me because I proved them wrong. They started believing in me because I proved myself right. They didn't change their opinion because I convinced them. They changed their opinion because I convinced myself. You can't logic someone into believing in your dreams. You can't argue someone into supporting your vision. You can only show them. You can only demonstrate it. You can only prove it through your actions and your results. So stop trying to convince them with your words and start convincing them with your work. Stop trying to make them see it and start making it so clear that they can't ignore it. Stop trying to get them to believe in your future and start building the present that makes your future inevitable. But here's what I really want you to understand. You don't need their belief to get started. You don't need their support to begin. You don't need their permission to chase your dreams. You need to start now with what you have, where you are, believing only in yourself. Every single day that you wait for someone else to believe in you is another day that you're not believing in yourself. Every moment that you spend trying to convince them is a moment that you're not spending working on your goals. The harsh reality is this: some people are never going to believe in you. Not because you're not capable, not because your dreams aren't valid, but because they've given up on their own dreams and they can't imagine anyone else achieving theirs. They've been hurt by disappointment so many times that they've built walls around their heart. They've failed so many times that they've convinced themselves that success is impossible, and they're trying to protect you from the same pain they experienced. But here's what they don't realize. Pain is not the enemy. Disappointment is not the end. Failure is not final. These are just temporary stops on the way to success. These are just lessons disguised as setbacks. When I look back at all the people who didn't believe in me, I don't feel angry anymore. I feel grateful because they forced me to develop my own belief system. They forced me to become self-reliant instead of dependent. They forced me to dig deeper than I ever thought I could dig. If everyone had believed in me from the beginning, I might not have worked as hard. If everyone had supported me from the start, I might not have pushed myself as far. If everyone had encouraged me from day one, I might not have developed the resilience that I needed to handle success when it came. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is for people not to believe in you. Sometimes the greatest gift is to be underestimated. Sometimes the biggest favor is to be counted out. Because when you're the underdog, you have nothing to lose and everything to prove. And there's a beautiful freedom in that. When nobody expects anything from you, you're free to exceed all expectations. When nobody thinks you can do it, you're free to do it in your own way. When nobody believes in your vision, you're free to build it exactly how you see it. I want you to start looking at disbelief differently. Instead of seeing it as an obstacle, see it as an opportunity. Instead of seeing it as discouragement, see it as motivation. Instead of seeing it as a reason to quit, see it as a reason to keep going. Every time someone tells you that you can't do something, say thank you for the extra motivation. Every time someone doubts your ability, say thank you for the fuel. Every time someone questions your dreams, say thank you for reminding me that I'm the only one who needs to believe in them. Because the truth is, their belief in you is nice, but it's not necessary. Their support is helpful, but it's not required. Their encouragement is welcome, but it's not essential. What's necessary, required, and essential is your own unwavering faith in your ability to figure it out. You might not know how you're going to do it yet. You might not have all the answers. You might not see the full path. But that's okay. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You don't need to have the entire plan to begin planning. What you need is the courage to begin without their blessing, the strength to continue without their support, the determination to persist without their encouragement, the faith to believe without their belief. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not the people who had the most support. They're the people who needed the least support. They're the people who learned how to support themselves. They're the people who developed an unbreakable relationship with their own potential. And that relationship, that bond between you and your dreams, that's sacred, that's untouchable, that's unshakable, because it doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion. It doesn't require anyone else's permission. It doesn't need anyone else's validation. When I was broke, working that dead-end job, dreaming about a different life, I used to write down my goals every single day. And every single day I would read them out loud to myself, not to convince anyone else, but to remind myself of what I was working toward, to keep my own fire burning, to maintain my own belief. And people thought I was crazy for doing it. They thought I was wasting my time. They thought I was setting myself up for disappointment. But I kept doing it anyway, because I knew that if I stopped feeding my dreams, they would die. If I stopped believing in my goals, they would disappear. Your dreams need daily nutrition. Your goals need constant attention. Your vision needs regular reinforcement. And you can't depend on other people to provide that for you. You have to provide it for yourself. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to be your own motivational speaker. This means talking to yourself like you're someone you love, instead of someone you're trying to fix. This means encouraging yourself the way you would encourage someone you care about. This means believing in your potential the way you would believe in a child's potential. Because the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. The way you treat yourself teaches other people how to treat you. The way you believe in yourself determines whether other people believe in you. But it starts with you. It always starts with you. You can't control whether other people believe in you, but you can control whether you believe in yourself. You can't control whether other people support you, but you can control whether you support yourself. And when you take full responsibility for your own belief, when you take complete ownership of your own motivation, something magical happens. You become unstoppable. Not because you're perfect, not because you never face obstacles, but because you have an unshakable foundation that nobody else can destroy. I remember reading about successful entrepreneurs and what they attributed their success to. The number one answer wasn't talent, it wasn't luck, it wasn't connections. It was persistence, the ability to keep going when things got tough, the willingness to continue when others quit. And you know what fuels persistence? Belief. Not other people's belief in you, but your own belief in yourself. Because other people's belief is conditional. It depends on your performance. But your own belief can be unconditional. It can exist regardless of your circumstances. That's the type of belief you need to develop. The type that doesn't depend on external validation. The type that doesn't require proof before it exists. The type that doesn't need permission to be powerful. The type that burns from the inside out, instead of waiting to be lit by someone else. When nobody believes in you, you have a choice. You can let their disbelief become your reality, or you can use their disbelief as the foundation for your own unshakable faith. You can let their doubt limit your potential, or you can use their doubt to discover potential you didn't even know you had. I chose to use it as fuel. Every person who said I couldn't do it added wood to my fire. Every person who doubted my ability increased my determination. Every person who questioned my dreams strengthened my resolve, and instead of being discouraged by their lack of faith, I was energized by the opportunity to prove them wrong. But I wasn't trying to prove them wrong for them. I was trying to prove them wrong for me. I was trying to prove to myself that I was capable of more than they thought. I was trying to demonstrate to myself that I could achieve things they said were impossible. And that's exactly what you need to do. You need to stop trying to prove other people wrong and start proving yourself right. You need to stop trying to change their mind and start developing your own mind. You need to stop trying to get them to see your potential and start seeing it yourself. Because when you truly see it, when you really believe it, when you completely know it, their opinion becomes irrelevant. Their belief becomes unnecessary. Their support becomes optional. Because you have everything you need inside yourself to make it happen. The most successful people I know are not the people who had the most believers. They're the people who needed the fewest believers. They're the people who learned how to be their own biggest fan. They're the people who developed the ability to motivate themselves regardless of what anyone else thought. And that's a skill. That's something you can develop. You can learn how to be your own source of motivation. You can practice being your own source of encouragement. You can train yourself to be your own source of belief. It starts with the conversation you have with yourself every morning. Instead of waking up and immediately thinking about all the people who don't believe in you, wake up and remind yourself of all the reasons you believe in you. Instead of starting your day focused on their doubt, start your day focused on your faith. Instead of going to bed replaying all the negative things people said about your dreams, go to bed visualizing all the positive things that will happen when your dreams come true. Instead of ending your day with their voices in your head, end your day with your own voice in your head, because the voice that has the most influence over your life is your own voice. The opinion that matters most is your own opinion. The belief that has the most power is your own belief. And when you learn to control that voice, when you learn to shape that opinion, when you learn to strengthen that belief, you become the author of your own story. Nobody believed in me when I started, and you know what? That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because it forced me to believe in myself. It forced me to develop faith in my own ability. It forced me to create a vision so clear and so strong that I didn't need anyone else to see it. And now, years later, when I look back at all those people who didn't believe in me, I don't feel resentment, I feel appreciation, because they gave me the greatest gift they could ever give me. They gave me the opportunity to prove to myself that I was capable of more than they thought. So if nobody believes in you right now, congratulations, you're exactly where you need to be. You're in the perfect position to develop unshakable self-belief. You're in the ideal situation to build unstoppable self-motivation. Don't waste this opportunity trying to convince them. Use this opportunity to convince yourself. Don't spend this time looking for their validation. Spend this time building your own validation. Don't use this energy trying to change their mind. Use this energy to develop your own mind. Because when you develop unshakable belief in yourself, when you build unstoppable motivation from within, you become dangerous. You become the type of person who doesn't need permission to succeed. You become the type of person who doesn't need approval to achieve. And that's when everything changes. That's when doors start opening. That's when opportunities start appearing. That's when success starts happening. Not because other people finally started believing in you, but because you finally started believing in yourself. The moment you stop looking for their belief and start building your own is the moment your real journey begins. The moment you stop needing their support and start supporting yourself is the moment you become unstoppable. So let them doubt. Let them question. Let them think you're crazy. Let them believe it's impossible. Let them say you can't do it. Because while they're busy not believing in you, you're going to be busy proving them wrong. While they're focused on your limitations, you're going to be focused on your potential. And when it does happen, when you achieve what they said was impossible, when you become who they said you couldn't become, you're going to understand something profound. Their belief was never required. Their support was never necessary. Their encouragement was never essential. What was required, necessary, and essential was your willingness to believe in yourself when nobody else would. Your commitment to support yourself when nobody else could. Your determination to encourage yourself when nobody else did. That's the secret. That's the formula. That's the key. Not other people's belief in you, but your own belief in yourself. Not their faith in your potential, but your own faith in your ability. Not their confidence in your success, but your own confidence in your journey. So stop waiting for them to believe in you and start believing in yourself. Stop looking for their support and start supporting yourself. Stop needing their encouragement and start encouraging yourself. Because the only person whose belief really matters is you. And when you finally understand that, when you really embrace that, when you completely accept that, you'll realize that nobody believing in you was never a problem. It was an opportunity to discover that the only belief you ever really needed was your own. Nobody believes in you? Perfect. That just means you get to prove them all wrong, while proving yourself right. And trust me, there's no feeling in the world quite like that. Now stop reading this and go do something that scares them. Go chase something that seems impossible to them. Go become someone they never thought you could become. Because while they're busy not believing in you, you're going to be busy becoming undeniable. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your opportunity is today. And the only person who needs to believe in it is you.